The song of the mountain restricted by a season, crawling to the top of the silence. If you let me know what I have done, I can let it go. I just want to know. If you don't want me to know, I'll let you go.
All right, welcome aboard to Kick Push Radio. Here with me, I have Mr. Brandon Sneed from RedF Skateboards. What up, Brandon? What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just sitting out here working in the shop slash storage facility slash a bunch of other things.
In the RedF factory over there.
Yeah, club distribution factory. But
Yeah. I see Jacob behind you with the old lady hair going on. What's
yeah,
up, Jacob?
all ladies back there.
Jacob's not dressed in the proper RedF uniform. What's up with that? Somebody
Uh,
needs to be written up over there.
He says he went rogue. He's protesting our lack of OSHA enforcement.
Yeah, you have some? I didn't think there was any. So, Brandon, how long
Yep.
have you been skateboarding? How long have you been into skateboarding and stuff?
Oh man, I'm not gonna do the math because I'm bad at counting, but probably like 86
Yeah,
ish.
right
My
on.
my first board had a nose that was about that long on it. As
You
your
remember your first
one
setup?
probably did too.
Do you remember what it was, like your first setup?
Yeah, it was a skateboard that I bought for myself out of the Sears catalog. So it was a Veriflex, and it had that wrap on the bottom that had the skateboard that had giant wheels in the back and then tiny wheels in the front, kind of like those old cartoon hot rod looking things, but it was a skateboard.
Yeah,
And it had like the copers on the trucks and the little plastic thing in front of the kingpin on the back.
uh-huh.
Yeah, which I was made fun of relentlessly the first time I went out with that thing. But it didn't stop me.
Yeah. I think I had a
Tony Hawk sticker in the middle of it, and then people
yeah.
asking questions.
I think I had like a Coca-Cola skateboard that my dad got me at a flea market.
Oh, nice, nice.
So,
Was it like one of those little skinny boards, or?
no, it was like a full size, like old school shaped. Had
Oh, God.
the plastic nose bone and the big fat plastic bubble looking tail guard and the rails and the wheels were like not even straight urethane. They were like almost plastic,
Yeah,
So,
good times.
what got you into skateboarding? Why'd you want to start skateboarding?
I don't know. It just looked pretty fun. This kid that lived down the street from me, Ronnie Jones, was out skateboarding, and he always had his friends over, and they were. I think I was probably like in fifth grade at the time, and they were like in ninth grade or something. And so I got a skateboard, started skating with them, and then because we were at my grandmother's house after school all the time, that's when we started skating at Tysinger and meeting people up there and all that kind of stuff.
All right, I remember
And
Tysinger.
those little, I think you and Davey were talking about it whenever he was on, like those little tiny ledges that are like right up against the wall that were maybe about a foot wide.
Yeah. But they were like super long, and you could just like
Yeah,
grind forever. So yeah,
yeah.
It's
They
like
were outdoors, but out of the elements. So
yeah,
they were
yeah.
like 40-year-old pristine ledges.
Right. Yeah, that school was so fun. That was a really fun spot to skate.
No, it was those
Yeah.
teachers, like if you'd go up to try and 5-0 on those ledges or whatever, because the boards were so wide back then, it would always whack the wall whenever you got up there, and then like teachers would be
Right.
running screaming at you if they were working late or something.
Yeah. Because I remember I would do like feeble grinds on those ledges, but I would
Uh-huh.
lock into where my board was like sliding against, or my nose was sliding against the wall. So I was almost
Yeah.
like cheating, where I had like my back truck on, but my nose was like against the wall, and I was just walking in like
It
that.
made it easy to learn too, because you had something to hold on to. You weren't
Yeah,
scared
yeah,
of falling.
yeah, yeah. That place is so fun. Um, what are some of your favorite like skate videos and stuff from back then and present time?
Uh, let's see. The one actually kind of funny because this came up recently. Justin Gerard, who used to skate for New Deal, I
Uh-huh.
think I mean, that wasn't the first skate video that we saw, right? Like we had all like the Bones Brigade video show, Animal Chin, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
But that New Deal video was probably like the first street skating video that actually like captured our attention, because like you had the
Yeah.
ones with like Ray Barbie skating in the street, and they're just kind of doing silly stuff that nobody had done before. But we didn't really have terrain like that. Whereas Justin Gerard, he's skating like shopping mall parking lots and doing manuals and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it's funny too because he's dressed in all green. He's got the green New Deal hoodie, matching green shorts, green socks, green freaking shoes, the green hat on, and they're like, so Justin, what are your hobbies? And he's like, skateboarding, water polo, and scamming on hot babes. We thought was hilarious. But the reason I bring that one up is
Uh-huh.
because he was on he was on Paul Schmidt's podcast not too long ago, and he was asking like what people thought of the interview that he had on there, and I said there wasn't enough scamming on hot babes, and he liked my comment, so I guess he remembered it too.
Oh, that's awesome. That's rad.
But I like that was probably the first street skating video that really captured our attention. And then
What
uh,
was it? Was that useless wooden toys?
I think so. I think so.
Uh, yeah, yeah. That was a good
I can't
video.
remember all the names of everything.
Yeah.
But that was the one where like we watched it and you're like, whoa, I'm actually possibly capable of doing a lot of the stuff that I see in here, right? So then
Yeah,
like that
yeah,
was like our hype video before we would roll up to Ty Singer and
yeah.
terrorize teachers and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
And then what do you call it? Plan B questionable. Whenever that came out, we were quite a bit older and quite a bit better whenever that one came out. But like it was this very apparent progression in terms of like what style was and all that other
right.
kind of stuff, the types of tricks that people were doing. And that was
Yeah.
also, I mean, one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna do the 12, the rail in the middle of the 12 set while it's pouring rain, like Duffy did, like right at the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah.
A lot of the other tricks, it's like, oh yeah, I'll try that. Maybe on a smaller scale, but I'll try that and see what's up.
Yeah. It was such a good video. Remember kind of back in those days, the Love Child video? Remember
Oh
that?
yeah, yeah.
With like Shiloh Greathouse and I think Kareem. It was like one of Kareem Campbell's first ones. And then there was that 101 Blind World Industries like trilogy video. Uh,
I don't think I ever saw that. I mean, maybe I did. I saw lots of them, but the ones that I remember resulted in a marked improvement in my personal
uh,
skateboard, which is why they stick, right? So then like when you and I were roommates and like we were like fixated on the Rodney versus Daywan video, man.
yeah, yeah,
It's like, okay, I'm gonna try this one, I'm gonna try this one, and then we're gonna watch that video tomorrow and like do it all over again and just like rinse repeat.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that 101 Blind trilogy video, I know it was on a VHS and I got it from Justin Heath because it was dubbed on the same tape as that Colors video. And I think
Oh
it passed around between all of us. Like,
yeah, I remember the colors one.
yeah, it was on like
I
the
forgot
same
that was even a
video.
thing until you brought it up just now.
Yeah, yeah. That was back in the big pants, small wheels days.
Yeah.
Oh, that was rad. Yeah.
You know what
Uh,
I always wondered those days, like how Dauber was such a good skateboarder, but
uh-huh.
his pants were like attached just above his knees.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
it just like the physics of it just don't compute. But
yeah.
it happened, you know.
I saw him years later. I mean, this is probably, oh geez, probably close to 15 years ago. I ran into him and I was like, Dauber. He's like, dude, please don't ever call me that again. Name is David.
That's funny.
He didn't like that.
He was
Uh,
rocking it at the time, though.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Because he did look like that guy Dauber from the show Coach.
Hmm.
Looked exactly like same hair and everything. So, so when, and I guess, how did RedF Skateboards start? You can go back to the win, but
Is it
like,
okay if I
how?
diss other companies while we're on here? Like, is that frowned upon?
The what?
Is it okay if I diss other companies while I'm on here? Is that frowned upon?
You don't have to name names,
Oh well,
You
you're gonna know. You're gonna know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll know. I already know what you're talking about before you even say
So
it.
like, so I took a hiatus, right? Because like we all grew up. I had three kids. I still skated during most of their childhood, but um, I don't know. I kind of went through like probably 7 years where like I maybe skated like every couple of months for like a couple of
Right.
hours, and that was kind of it. And then when I got divorced the second time, I'm like, I was also I had finished up one job and signed with another one, but I didn't start for like another 3 months or something. And I'm like, whoa, I've got all this time on my hands. Like, let me go check this out, see what's happened there. And I swear to God, man, it was the exact same. Nothing had changed since when I left it. The prices were
Yeah.
all still the same. It was still the same brand, still the same style of graphics, no technology improvements, like literally nothing. I'm like, yeah, I think I can do better than that. 'Cause I'd already been messing with composites and doing a lot of woodworking on my own and stuff like
Uh-huh.
that. So like, yeah, we made those first carbon fiber decks, and like I went through probably about 20 different little prototypes before I settled on the design that we ended up using.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but there, like in the industry, there wasn't anything like when I started on that road, there wasn't anything comparable. And then you know, PAL came out with their flight decks, and I was like, oh, okay, well, this is cool. This is kind of where I wanted to go. But then I got one and I cut it apart because I was curious how it was made. Almost lost an arm because they don't use enough resin in there to keep the fiberglass down. And so whenever you cut it, it flips back if it's under stress. However, if it's fully encased in resin, that doesn't happen. So that only happens because there's such little resin in it. But then I
Right.
also noticed it's not actual uh, hard rock maple either. And so I was disappointed, but it also, I was like, oh, see, if this is the crap that they're going to do, if this is the hot garbage they're going to do, I can do even better than this.
Yeah.
So I just kind of stoked the fire of imagination. And at first I started out like, oh, I'm just going to build a skateboard company. But, you know, like whenever you
Uh-huh.
go down these roads, like you don't know all the crap that you don't know, but you probably should know, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
how are skateboards actually sold? Well, it's primarily through a distribution company. And then so it's like, oh, well, how do you get into a distribution company? Well, unless you're sitting on like thousands upon thousands of boards, the answer is you don't. And
Yeah.
so like we had to go through the planning of okay, the brand by itself is not going to get to where we want it. So then we started club distribution, and then we needed other brands to go with that. But there were also other areas we were interested in improving upon too, like wheels, bearings, all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, that's like the whole thing sprouted, but it did start with Red F and our first
Mhm.
Dead Gods series, which I think you still have some hanging on the walls there, don't you?
Um, I know it's kind of dark here. I didn't get a chance to set my light up, but yes,
Oh
right
yeah,
there
yeah, there's
behind me.
one. There's one.
It's the OG Red F right there
Yeah.
behind me.
Hmm.
Sorry, my ghetto lighting over here. Uh,
The the funny story about those is the people that we had press those for us and print them because we weren't able to do so at the time because we were just getting started.
yeah,
They literally screwed up half of the order because
really.
each board was supposed to have a matching top graphic with it because it was like a series, like it was like a limited
Uh-huh.
edition series. And so out of 600 decks, they screwed up 300 of them.
Oh, geez.
Like wouldn't take ownership. I was like, and they're like, we'll give you like a 2% discount when you order again. And I was like, that'll be a cold day in hell. So no.
Oh my God. That's crazy. Jeez. So,
Plus it, you know, like they quoted us 2 months to get it done, and then it was like 8, you know, so it's like
yeah,
this is
yeah. Time to
yeah,
bail. Go with
yeah.
somebody else.
Also, okay, well, since you can't depend on people, figure out how to do it yourself, which we then
Yeah,
did. You know?
yeah. That's awesome. So you do print your own boards.
We
Um,
print our own boards, we
uh-huh,
press, cut our own shapes and everything,
uh-huh.
press our own wood. We usually do it for mostly just for prototypes, and then we pass those on to somebody who can do it in volume. Because
Right on.
we don't have the production space to do it in the volume that we sell. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's cool. Yeah. So
pretty.
who do you have on your team right now? Who's running for you?
Let's
Or
see.
running team?
We got Joey Esteban out in Las Vegas.
Uh-huh.
We have I don't know. He's from Indonesia, and I'm sure there's a pronunciation to it, but to me it looks like his last name is MP,
Uh-huh.
like the letters MP, but his first name's Iga. That guy's rad. He's in Indonesia, and he also does a lot of art and graphic design for us. Runs Instagram too,
Uh-huh.
and then we also have well, he's not quite pro yet, but he will be soon. Chris Ribeiro, who's also in Las Vegas, and
Right
those are
on.
the pros. And then we have a bunch of AMs too, like Devon Zermeno and
Uh-huh.
oh my gosh, uh, Josh Spencer,
Uh-huh.
Ziggy out at Enchantment Skate Shop. He's one of the co-owners there.
Right
Uh,
on.
Also, amazing skateboarder. If you're into what do you call it, Native American affairs and stuff like that, like these
Uh-huh.
guys do. Him and his wife do so much for the skateboarding community out there. It's literally unreal. They built so many DIY parks. They're one of the only shops.
Yeah,
They always do events on the reservations and stuff to get kids active and all that kind of stuff.
that's
And
awesome.
yeah, there's a handful of other AMs.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna butcher names if I just go through the list, but like those are the people that are making waves
Yeah.
so far.
The other thing is, I mean, you only don't have people writing for you here in the US, but yeah, I mean, you're, all over the world, all over the
Oh
globe.
yeah, Simo's out. Faizadi, Simo Pizzati.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, see, I can't pronounce the last name. I'm sure he's told me before, but it
Uh-huh.
doesn't stick. Anyway, yeah, he's out in Morocco. The
Right
kid,
on.
he was actually one of our first writers.
Uh-huh.
Right out of the gate. I watched him skate just through Instagram and stuff like that, and he's literally been with us the entire time. So like, if Red F has been around for like little over maybe a little over 5 years now,
Uh-huh.
he's been there the entire time. And it's all about what we do and yeah, reps it.
Yeah.
It's really. I wish I could sell boards in Morocco because he would move a mountain of them. But you know, things get weird when you're in
Yeah.
smaller countries like that, and you know they're run the way that they are.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
hard to get product there unless it's coming from France.
right.
I guess they have some trade agreement. It's like
Oh, okay.
if things come from France, they can
Uh-huh.
come in for free. Anywhere else, 100% tariff. You know, it's like whoa,
Wow. Wow. Geez, that's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about excuse me. Tell me about club distribution. What's going on with club distribution?
Well, that's our distribution company, obviously, and we've got a lot of brands that are either. Well, I co-founded it with Steve McInnes, who's out in Australia.
Uh-huh.
So we're co-owners of that. We're co-owners of Happy Wheels too. He owns FSC. I own RedF. Um, you know, you got the eDubs brand and stuff like that.
Right.
And we started an OEM program, so like we've got a handful of customers doing that stuff too. And the idea
Yeah.
is that You know, given that we had to go through all the learnings of like how the business work, how do you advertise effectively, how do you get shops on board, how do you find riders, what do riders actually have to do, you know, this whole gamut of things that an individual brand needs to know. We've got all that knowledge, and so what we're trying to do is make it such that, you know, like we're trying to lower the barrier of entry, right? Because like if you're starting absolutely from scratch and you say, I want to start a skateboard company, you know, you can go the route where you're getting like 25, 50 boards at a time, sell them out of the back of your truck or whatever. But if you want to go past that and start selling to shops, and be able to have pro riders and supply people with boards on a regular basis and all that, there's this big gap there, right? So you go from like buying 25, 50, maybe even a couple of hundred, but if you want to get into the distribution space, you need to start buying like, you know, 8,000 boards in order to make that a possibility. Because if somebody like South Shore AWH comes up and you're lucky enough to get your brand in there, they're gonna buy like 1,000 boards at a time. They're not gonna buy 10, 20, because there's no money in that, right? Like those are volume businesses.
Right.
That's where we come in, is because we have the inventory on hand, and we can also, like, we've got those kind of volumes that they need. We can do all the printing for people, all that kind of stuff, and help them grow their company without this huge upfront out-of-pocket expense, like $30,000 for, you know, to get your first order of 7,000 boards or whatever it is.
Right.
So that keeps your regular people out. And you know, like it's kind of a double-edged sword, because you also, you know, like everybody and their dog wants to start a board brand, but not everybody and their dog should, because it's like if you're struggling and you can't afford to spend, Jacob, what's 10 boards cost in the OEM program? It's like $120, right? Yeah. So if you can't spend $120 on just 10 skateboard decks, because it's too risky of an investment in you, that for you, that's $120. You probably shouldn't be doing this, you know?
Right.
But we also, you know, like nobody would be like, oh yeah, I'll drop $6,000, you know, like that's where we come in, is we keep you from getting there. But, you know, a couple of $100, you know, max out of pocket. Also learning how all the business stuff works too. It's invaluable. And there's skills that you, like, even if your skateboard company doesn't work out, you take it, apply it somewhere else, you know?
Right.
Like anything retail,
Absolutely.
like it all holds true.
Yeah. Jeez, that's awesome. So under club distribution, who all do you have under club?
Oh, in the club.
Right. All the companies for the distribution.
So there's RedF, E-Dubs, Happy Wheels Supply, FSC, Portal, Terminal 4, Killer Speed Co, KFD, Vow, Shorties, which was actually a really cool win for us, that we were able to start carrying their stuff. So we have a bunch of Shorties. Awesome. 15 total brands. There's 15 brands total. Those are the I just rattled off the ones I remember off my head, and then there's like 3 OEM customers, or 2 more OEM customers that are about to launch really soon, and those should be pretty good. One of them is it's a pretty big name, dude. Like I won't spoil it or anything, but when it comes out, you're gonna go, oh dang, he's on that. Sick.
That's awesome. Can't wait to see that. And I mean, I know you've printed boards for a couple of people out here, like Scoochie Skateboards. You did a run for them. Slid Roll, you did some boards for them. So new stuff all over the place.
Anthony over at Slid Roll was like our first OEM customer, so I was learning how that should go as we were doing his.
Right on.
We had an issue with the printer, so I ended up silk screening his boards myself by hand on a weekend, 8 hours of the night, to make sure that order got out on time.
Were these the slid roller boards?
No, they were the ones that just had his logo on the bottom.
Oh, okay, yeah. Actually, behind here you can't see it, but I have one of his slid roller decks that you printed on the wall over here.
Oh yeah, keep it. That's a collector's item.
Yeah, I'm keeping that one forever.
Because after that, I will never silk screen a board again.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Not because it's not fun, but it is so messy, and
Yeah,
the cleanup takes longer than actually printing the boards.
yeah. And the more colors you have on there, oh man, it's got to be
Yeah,
crazy.
that one was three because you had black, red, and
Yeah,
white.
yeah, yeah. Geez, can you imagine? So, if you can talk about it, do you have anything planned or anything rad coming up for Red F? Or I know you touched a little bit with club distribution, some of the OEM stuff, but what about for Red F? Anything rad in the works or anything coming up?
Uh, well, we got a lot of new stuff coming out, from new types of bearings to new board
Uh-huh.
construction types. Those are the big ones in the works right now, and
Uh-huh.
you know, I don't know if you know, people watching know this, but the like the EDubs bearings, for example, right? Like
Uh-huh.
I designed those myself, and those are all to my specs and manufactured to my specifications and whatever. So we got more of that, take that design and like build up on it a little bit more.
Right.
And the same thing with the boards, right? Like whenever we were doing those carbon red up boards back in the day, you know, like they were really expensive. And that was back when skateboards were still like on average $55.
Right.
And so like we've got some stuff not completely identical, but will like move the needle and on that stuff, and then also be able to be produced in volume. And I think those are going to be a pretty big hit whenever they get there. We're going to do a lot of promotion around it whenever we get a little bit closer, and give you all the science, and um, which I think is like one thing that sets us apart from other ones, right? Like like your bearings are a perfect example, right? Where it says no BS at the bottom of them.
Yeah, yeah.
And like we'd rather spend our money making the product the best that we possibly can, as affordable for our customers, without all the crap that goes with it, whether it be packaging, marketing spiel that doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, like real stuff, like no smoke and mirrors or anything like that.
Right. Right. I mean, I think that's what sets you apart from, most everybody else or things like that. So,
Well, I mean, you know, it depends on how willing people are to listen. Some people just love, you know, whatever brand so much that they're just kind of like blind to all the crap that's being thrown at them.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
these bearings have special nanotechnology. Man, no, they don't. They don't. You know how I know? I can look at them under a microscope and see it.
Yeah,
You know, like it's, these are easy things to disprove if you
right,
have
right.
a little bit of equipment. You know,
So,
whether it be a microscope or a durometer tester or whatever. You know,
uh,
like half the wheels on the market that are labeled 83B are actually like 99s,
yeah,
97s.
yeah.
That's nobody knows the difference because they can't tell. You know.
Yeah, and I've seen 101s. I've skated like 101s that are clearly like 98, 97, or something like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, you never know.
There's one place in particular which I think is really funny because they, you know, if a couple of points on a wheel hardness is not that big of a deal, right? So if you say they're 100 but they're 99, okay, yeah,
Right.
close enough,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Or even if they're 101s and they say 99, okay, yeah, close enough. But
yeah.
one pretty famous manufacturer in particular is almost 8 points off on what their printed hardness is, and it's like, yo, man, are you even trying anymore? Did you just give up?
That's crazy. But skateboarders, we can tell a difference totally. Like if you skate an 8-inch board and switch to a 8.138, it's gonna throw you off. You can tell. You can tell that difference. So skateboarders are picky.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So,
That's one thing. Like I don't argue with it, but it's like it's one thing that I call out all the time because like sometimes
yeah,
like even all the riders that we have between all the brands, I'll get this
right.
request for like, yo, can I get a 8375? And I'll say, you mean an 838? And they go, no, it has to be an 8375. And you're like,
Yeah.
really? That's literally like a thousandth of an inch, right? Or you know, whatever it happens to be. It's like that's so minuscule. And they're like, no, it's gotta be that. It's gotta be that. Which is also funny because in the skateboarding industry, if you take any deck and let's say you pull an 8.0 off the shelf, right? It's not guaranteed to be 8.0. Like woodworking tolerances are about a 16th of an inch, right? So like you'll pull an 8.0 off the shelf that's labeled 8.0, but it's actually almost an 8.12, right? Or it's between a 7.8 and an 8, like that close, but the labeling says 8, so like something clicks in the head and it works. So like that's why when you get to those little differences, you're like, I don't know about this, man. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're a bit about out of time here. Ran time. This went by super fast. Kind of wrap it up a little bit. Do you have any shout outs you want to mention, or any thank yous, or anybody want to say hello to before we go?
Yeah, like I'm from Texas too, so I got a ton of friends out there. Like shout out to Kylan, all the guys that we used to skate with, Joey, Brian, Davey, all those dudes. Like like if all of us didn't grow up skating together, like none of this stuff that your radio show, even my company, none of that stuff would exist if that had not happened. And so it's like everybody gets to where they want to be with help. Nobody ever works alone. Nobody ever does it alone. So don't ever believe it when somebody says like, oh yeah, I built all this myself. You did not.
Yeah.
It's not willing to give credit,
Right. Oh, jeez. All right. Well, cool, man. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being on.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me. Anytime.
Yeah, for sure. This episode is going to be, I'll let you know for sure, but I believe it's going to be the second to the last week of July. Okay. We'll put this out and stuff, so I'll send you the info. I'm going to splice together a little footage, mixed with this, some of the guys skating on your team and stuff like that. So
okay, awesome.
It'll be a fun time. Good, thank you again, and thank you, Jacob, back there for being so rad. Jacob, you want to say hello to anybody? Give any shout?
You got the granny out of her seat. Yeah.
Just got board at the local corral, so
yeah. Right on. Sweet. All right. Well, I'll let you guys get back to work and stuff, making boards and all that. So.
All right. Awesome, man. That sounds good. Thanks so much.
Yeah. No worries. Thank you. All right. Talk to y'all later.
Talk to you soon.
See you.
Bye. Bye.